Hi everybody, we're going to practice a new stitch this week called a V-stitch, and you can make a simple infinity scarf for yourself using this stitch. So it's just something new to add. So to get started, you will chain multiples of 3 plus an extra 2. Okay, so you are just going to start again with your slip knot. So just a reminder, your slip knot any which way you want to make it. So this is the way I like to make mine. I just turn the wool around like so. Okay, there's the tail down here. Bring it up through the back. This is a simple, easy way to make your slip knot. And then just secure it on to your hook like so. Okay, and then you're going to make your chains, and off you go and make your chains. Hold down the tail here now again. All right, and just find your own way of holding your work. 1, 2, 3. So just make maybe 18 for a practice plus the extra 2. So it'll be multiples of 3 plus an extra 2. So depending on the size of the project that you want to make, okay? So keep going there, and then we will get started on our V-stitch. Okay, so we're going to get started today with a V-stitch, and it's a very simple stitch that you can learn and start practicing. We will be using a treble crochet, so you'll be familiar with that now at this stage. And to get started again, we just make a slip knot, okay, to get ourselves started, and draw it through. This is the way I like to make my slip knot, but whichever way you find that you've been able to make it is perfectly okay. So off we go, and we chain multiples of 3. Okay, so that's 3. I'm going to crochet 18 and then an extra 5. So just try and remember that for the V-stitch. Multiples of 3 plus an extra 5. So I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, and then an extra 5. So I know this little bit here now is tedious and monotonous, but I'll go slow down for the next 5 for a recap. 1, 2, 3, yarn around my hook, 4, just draw it through and yarn around my hook, draw it through, that's 5. So I have 18 plus 5. And now you're going to make the foundation row, and once we make the foundation row, each row in the V-stitch will be the exact same. So it's very straightforward. So yarn around your hook, because we're going to treble crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm just going to hold them out there so we can see clearly. I can just see now that the camera's going in out of focus again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So in here we go. Okay, I'm just wondering why it's going blurry. Draw through your yarn, 3 chains on my hook for a treble crochet, through 2, yarn around through the last 2. This is what it looks like. Chain 1 and another treble crochet into the exact stitch, the exact same stitch that you just made, back into the base of it. Yarn around, draw through 3 loops, yarn around through 2, yarn around through 2. Okay, so we've just made this now here straight away. Okay, that's our first V-stitch. Now next V-stitch, we skip 2 chain, 1, 2, and into the 3rd we make another V-stitch, so with a treble. So yarn around your hook, skip 2, 1, 2, and into the 3rd. Make your treble crochet, yarn around through 2, yarn around through 2, chain 1, and make another treble into the exact same stitch. And it's not going to change. It's going to be the exact same thing. Okay, and you'll see, so this is our foundation row in our V-stitch. The next row we will be making another V-stitch in these chain spaces that we've made here, and you'll see the V then starting. You can even see it here now starting to take shape, and it'll be just exactly the same there on in. It won't change. So we've made another V-stitch here. So again, skip 2, 1, 2, into the third, make your treble crochet. Yarn around your hook, draw through, yarn around, through 2, yarn around, through 2. Chain 1, yarn around, into the same space, another treble crochet. So your V-stitch is made up of 1 treble crochet, 1 chain, and another treble crochet, all in the same stitch, okay, with your spaces then between them, okay. And you'll see then in the next round how it'll take shape. 1, 2. So again, you could make a quick little scarf for yourself practicing this stitch. It's also worked nicely up as a blanket, and you could change each row if you wanted to. You could change out your V stitch each row with a different color, and that, you know, make it nice stripe, and there's nice texture to it then as well. But the only problem with that then is the weaving in of the ends. You'll discover that as you're working along through your project, the weaving in. I'm just going to make sure as I've been chatting there now that I didn't forget to do a chain space. Not a chain space, but an extra chain between my trebles. So chain 1, I think I had it anyway, and back into the same space that you've been working another treble. So yeah, I was just talking about the weaving in of the ends of your work during your projects. 1, 2, in we go again. Can be quite annoying, but the secret, I suppose, as well, is to weave them in as you're working along, so it's not as frustrating at the end. Some people like to wait to the end to do it all. Again, it's all trial and error, and whatever works for you is perfectly okay. So we skip our 2 each time, 1, 2, and into the third, and I'm just working down to the end now as we're getting close to it there. So I chain 1 between the trebles, in I go again, yarn around through 2, yarn around through 2. Okay, so I have 1, 2, the last V-stitch, okay. Here, you're just counting out your stitches as you're working along. Your multiples of 3 plus an extra 5, if you remember that. Okay, and then you will be left with 1 at the end here. And all you do in this one is put a treble crochet. And now I want to talk to you about treble crochet, which we've been using quite a lot in our beginner's crochet, because I think it's one of the stitches, if you master that, you can work well with any of the other stitches in crochet. We work on UK pattern terms, so our treble crochet is the equivalent of a US double crochet. I don't want to confuse you, but when you're a complete beginner, it's important to make that comparison. A lot of patterns or a lot of YouTube tutorials will, when they're talking about double crochet, it's based on US terms. We work off of UK terms, but it's the exact same stitch, just called something different. Okay, so now I need to go back there now so to show you what I did. So I'm going to work the next row in the exact same color, okay, to show you, but then on the third row I'll introduce a new color just so you can see how you can add a different color to this type of stitch if you want, and it's something that you can just practice then. Okay, so we turn our work when we're working back our rows. For the V-stitch we chain up 3, 1, 2, 3. It's going to be the same from here on. Nothing is going to change now from here on in. Okay, so we turned our work, we chained up 3, and now we're going to work in between the V-stitches, making another V-stitch with our treble crochet like we did in the previous round. We chained 1, and then we're going to work in to the same space again with another treble. So it's not going to change. This is your V-stitch. You can see the V-stitch coming there. So yarn around into the next V-stitch, So if you hold out your work, it's into the V stitches you'll be working, not in here. Okay, so into your V stitch with your treble, my chain 1, and with another treble, and that's all you're going to do. Yarn around into my next. It will not change. It's quite a nice stitch to work with. You might prefer it to the granny square pattern that we did 2 weeks ago that we've been working on. So it just creates a nice texture and a nice look to the simple treble crochet stitch. So continue all the way to the end here, and I'll show you what to do at the end here, and then we'll change color. I'll show you how to change color if that's something you'd like to do, and you can take it from there then. Okay, so we have come down now and to the very end, and we've worked our V into the very last V, and then if you look closely, you have your turning chain, and it's important that you do not miss this because your work will start going all over the place, and all you do is work a treble into the turning chain just at the end, the top of it. Okay, so in you go with a treble, and you do that. Okay, and it just keeps your work nice and straight. Then we turn. Okay, and if you remember, we were going to introduce a new color just to show you how to do that. So if you're going to change color every row, okay, we've done 2 rows here now. So if you're going to change color every row, all you do, so I'm going to go back out here now, and you can just rewind this video now just to slow it down for your own purposes when you're practicing. So when you change color, I like to just insert the hook. Okay, I'm going to take it back out of the last treble there now and put it in now again as if you're going to do a treble. Okay, and just leave it here then with 2 loops. Okay, and this is where you'd introduce your new color then, because I think it's easier to do that. So I'm just going to introduce my color here, and I'm going to just introduce white. Okay, and I'll just show, I just want to show you how to do it. It's not something you have to do, but it's another new technique for you starting, because you'll have practiced a lot of your stitches. So leave your tail nice and long, as in not too long, but just enough that you can weave in at the end, and then draw it through. Okay, the 2 loops. Sorry, I'm going to go back out there now again, and I'm going to do that. Okay, so we drew it through there, okay, the 2 loops, and now it looks like this. So this is the green and this is the white, and then just for extra security, I've cut my tail off of the green now as well. So I'm just going to just tie them with 1 simple knot just to secure it as I'm working along. There's no real technique to this, as in tying them together. It's just to secure. Okay, so now you've introduced your new wool. Okay, and we're going to turn now because we're starting a new row, and we're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3 with our new color. Okay, and you will see your tails here. These are the bits now that I was telling you about earlier on, that, and then just pull that an extra little bit tight to secure it in there, because these are the ones that you'll be weaving in later on, okay, when you're finished your work. So off we go again, and you're working between the V's now again in this row. So we've made our 3 chain with our new wool from the previous round, and we're working into the V stitch again, and it's just exactly the same thing. 1 treble, 1 chain, 1 treble, all in the same space. 1 treble, 1 chain, 1 treble, and there's the white introduced now, okay, as in the new color, whatever color you're going to be using, and you'll just work along. So I'll finish along here, and again, if you remember what we said, this is the last V stitch. Make sure you put your V in here, And this is where you'll crochet 1 treble into the top of your turning chain. That helps us to keep our work straight at the edge as we're working along. So I'll work down to the end there. I'll change color again just to show you for demonstration purposes. I'll change back to the green just so you can see how to do that. And in the meantime, just enjoy it and just try out a new stitch for yourself with your treble crochet again that we learned in our very first tutorial, which is I think 6 lessons ago now at this stage. So just work along, okay, making your V-stitches, and I'll see you. Now we're coming down the end here and into the top of your turning chain, if you remember that. If you can hear a noise in the background there, it's my dog is in the middle of a dream. So he's making a funny sound, whether you can hear it or not. Now, so that's the top there, okay? And now we're going to introduce the new color again. Okay, so if you remember, okay, sorry, I went out of focus there completely. So if you remember what I said in the last round, when you're not changing color, you just continue obviously in the one color in to do your treble in the last stitch. If I go back out so you can see what I'm talking about there, okay? So you just continue in the same color in with and finish the treble like we did, okay? You just do a regular treble if you're just working in the one color. But if you're going to change color, you don't finish the treble completely, okay? You leave 2 loops remaining because it helps you to secure your new color. So put that down. And this now again is where you'll have to cut off the white like I'm doing here. Okay, and I'm going to introduce the green back into it here now again. And I'll just leave that down. So I take it up. I have my 2 loops because I didn't finish my treble because I'm introducing a new color. I just bring up the wool, okay, and I will draw it through the loop, okay, put it back down if you find it's easier that way. Tie your tails again with a basic knot until it feels secure, and don't pull it too tight because it'll pull the wool, and then we have our new color that we're working on. And then we'll turn our work. Okay, there are tails here. 1 second, I'll get the tails together there. Okay, so you'll have tails depending on the changes that you're going to make, so you're going to have to weave in those tails at the end. All right, so you can practice that in your own time. And off we go again. Chain up 1, 2, 3, and into our V-stitch we go again, doing the exact same thing. So you'll see it there now. Chain 1, another treble into the same space, creates our V-stitch. Next V-stitch, in I go. I'll just work 2 more of these so then you can see what it looks like with just working with 2 different colors. You could change color every single row if you so wish, if you wanted to make a nice multicolored blanket for yourself. So this is what it looks like when you have changed your yarn color at the end of a row and you're working back again. Okay, in we go again, bring it around my 2 loops. So that's all you're going to do and work all the way along. I'll work down to the end of this row and I'll meet you there, and then you can take it from there and see how you get on with your V-stitch. Okay, see you in a minute. Now, here we are down. I'm not going to change color this time. Okay, I just wanted to show you that for effect and to show you the easiest way to do it for yourself when you're starting off. So don't forget, okay, work into your last V, and do not forget to work your treble in to the top of this. So 1, 2, 3, so into the top of the previous row. Okay, so if you hold it out like that, that's what it looks like when you really separate out your work. Okay, it's going in and out of focus there, sorry about that, I hope it settles. There you go. And again, if you're not changing color, you just turn your work, chain up your 3, and into each V-stitch you do exactly the same thing. So if you don't want to change color, it's very straightforward, and if you are changing color, you just, when you go into the top here to make your final treble stitch at the edge, you only draw your work through 2 loops and then introduce the new color to secure it in. So if you go back through the tutorial, you'll see that. So I hope you enjoy trying a new stitch. And all you have to do to get good at it is practice and keep going and keep going. So you could make yourself a simple scarf with this stitch. So if you wanted to make it wider, you could double the amount of stitch chains that you made at the start. And then +5. So multiples of 3 +5. Don't forget that. Multiples of 3 +5 for starting off on your V-stitch. So I hope you enjoyed that little tutorial today. So keep going and share any work that you have produced, okay, with us, and hope to see you all again soon. Okay, in the meantime, enjoy crochet.